Hi everyone, Dr. Das here. I want to take a minute to talk about our readings for Module 1. And our readings are comprised of the first 3 chapters of the book, going through chapter by chapter here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is to just help connect some of the broader ideas in these chapters. And then at the end, talk a little bit about how they relate to the questions you need to answer for this module. So first of all, we have our first chapter, which deals with 6 different case studies. The prompt that you will need to answer specifically deals with one particular case study. However, each of these case studies have thematic ideas that relate to one another. So I've talked about already in expectations and correspondence like that about synthesis and evidence that responses you need to be able to synthesize, whether relating it to your own experience and not always or other ideas in the book. Those are always really good things to be able to relate to each other and show that you understand that connection and the broader picture that we're trying to build towards here with our practical knowledge base. When authors put in chapters that are specific to case studies, typically what we're doing is we're either reviewing concepts and then trying to apply them, or front-loading them, as in this case, and sort of setting the stage for the rest of the book, which is what we're doing here. So this is a good beginning. So the case studies are interesting, pretty nuanced, and I think in some respects more than others, they tend to be realistic. One can see them happening. In chapter 2, what I really want you to focus on are sort of 4 of the broader points are just the intensified pressure that's being put on expectations around student performance. That can come from the state level, that has come from the federal level, it can come from a local level. It can become very political. It can be something that's forgotten about when things are going well. It can become a political tactic within a campaign. It can become something that's very very hot, and it's interesting to see how school business administrators fit into that realm. Uncertainties regarding instruction and educational policy that impede the capacity of schools to achieve added academic progress for students. Interesting to see how those folks fit in there. Societally imposed conditions deeply constraining economic efficiency of modern school organization. And the last one to really focus on here is the necessity or asking the question, where does a school business professional fit in on something like a leadership team? And that could be a school leadership team, or it could be a district leadership team, or a strategic planning team. Those are things to think about because they have, generally speaking, out of the box, some pretty consistent expectations. However, as we'll see in chapter 3, those roles from there can grow in many, many different directions. So talking about chapter 3, when we think about the things to really key in on, we're looking at the historic evolution of the role. How did it start? Where has it gone? Where might it go? Just the hierarchical structure of things like organizational charts in school districts and in schools. We're talking about accountability for school business professionals and what they're responsible for. We're talking about where do they fit in on an administrative team. In some districts, you'll see them on something called a superintendent's cabinet. In some, you'll see them very seldom. And it's sort of I'll come find you, or sometimes I'll summon you when I need you. And I trust that you're doing what you need to in the meantime. The significance for business officials to trend towards school site management. And that's an eyebrow raiser, definitely, because what you'll see later in this book, and in my experience, and perhaps yours as well, is oftentimes there's a very stark separation between a school business administrator and a school. And that means both programmatically and in physical space. Most school business administrators are offsite of schools. And so what that can do is not only perceptually, but also literally create distance between operations at the school and operations within the school business office, which is very, very interesting. So that's an interesting point and one that I want you to key in on. And then finally, alternative school district planning models, which can be really interesting too. So pay attention to those points as you're thinking about answering your short answer questions for the week. And I'm looking forward to reading those responses. And I hope the beginning of the school year is going great for everybody. Let me know if you need anything, as always, and you take good care.